So we're gonna do some talking about some theological type stuff.
Yay!
What's your reaction to the word theology, Alicia? You are pursuing a master's theological degree.
I'm not prepared for that question, Pastor.
Oh.
I mean, I feel like sometimes it's overwhelming, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I sometimes feel like it's over my head.
Right. So that's the big idea, right? I think a lot of folks feel like that. A lot of folks feel like to really understand the Bible, you got to have super degrees and know those languages. And all that stuff really helps. But it's not our work that somehow governs God's revelation, right? It's God reaching out to us. And so we're just hanging out on a Thursday to talk about theology. It doesn't matter how experienced or educated you are. It's God's spirits that's doing the talking. So that's what we're going to do a little bit later, right?
Yeah, I'm excited.
Me too.
Excited.
Yeah.
And we got some people on. We're excited.
Hi, everybody.
7 people on.
Yeah. Well, that's just that number 2. How come I can't see who they are?
I can't see who they are either.
Oh, well, who are you? Let us know you're here. Say something. But yeah, the idea why we do this is not just because we like talking to each other, but we like talking to y'all, and we like having that engagement and having you join in the thought with us, even if it's a big old rabbit trail. I mean, those are often, and that's what we're talking about. Sometimes God wants us to take those rabbit trails and see where we go.
Even if it's like Yvonne and I last week,
that
and
was
we just
so
giggled the
great.
whole time.
That was so. There was a lot of giggling, but you didn't giggle the whole time.
It's a nervous giggle.
But I liked that. I think we need to have more guests on the program.
I agree.
Can we
with
call it
someone
that?
else.
With someone else. No, I mean, honestly, though, it really was a joy to watch. You guys did well.
Fun.
You guys did well. Yeah.
It was fun. I appreciate Yvonne doing that with me.
Yeah. Yeah. She and you are deep souls. So we're still kind of getting everyone a chance to get together here. We're doing it in the middle of the day because that's hopefully when y'all have a moment of break, and so you got some time to get your food set out and
get parked.
Get parked. Yes.
Please get parked.
If you're driving, please park somewhere or just don't look at the screen. Put it on the seat or something where you can't see it.
Yeah.
And we'll be all right with you not commenting. No comments required if you're driving. Yeah. So hello. We've got Dan and Betsy are joining us. That's nice. That's nice.
And
Sharon is with us.
I'm excited.
Oh, Bianca. Yeah, she's my friend too. So good to have, and that's cool because that's a neat spread. We've got a couple of folks that are right down the street, and then they live quite far away.
Port St. Lucie.
Yeah, I almost said the Biancas. So welcome. Glad to have you with us. We'll be starting in just a few minutes, about a minute or so.
You want to talk about last night?
Oh my gosh, last night. So great.
It was so nice.
So last night we had our 3rd of 4 awakening services. So I'm kind of sad that we're...
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying the awakening.
Yeah, I really am.
I like that we're putting it on live as well. I like that we're doing it on live as well because then the people like Bianca and Jeff who live, an hour and a half away from here, they can still be involved. I shared it last night and I always forget to share it. I know it sounds so awful. I just forget, whatever. But I had an aunt that lives in Ohio that watched it and said, Thank you for sharing. So that was fun, like that we get to touch people, just not just in our community, in other communities as well.
Well, and that's the thing. Just like part of what we were talking about last night is God is a God on the move. God zigs and zags, and so even if you weren't able to dial in as it happened last night, it's there. It's there on our Facebook, on our website. You can go check it out. You can still go share it. There's always more to explore when we're talking about the presence of the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
I mean, what is that? This alive and present God with us.
Yeah.
There's no end to that. So yeah, it was great. I felt uplifted.
I loved it.
But
all right, guys, we're gonna go. So grab.
We're not going anywhere.
Well, we're not going anywhere. watch the video and come back and talk with us about have tea time with us, not theology.
Have tea time, yes.
Welcome back.
Hey! That feels like it's a little too short.
It was really fast.
Yeah. So the idea with tea time is, we're moving ahead towards Sunday. It's to just kind of break open the theme for Sunday and to get us as like Bianca said, one big family, to get us as a family thinking about that. How does the theme of Sunday hit us? So we've been doing our slow stroll through the Bible, getting in our hearts the big story and our place in the big story. And so this Sunday we are looking at the Tower of Babel, which is a weird little story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird little story. It doesn't take a whole lot of verses. It's at the very beginning of Genesis 11. And do you have the scripture up? And so we're just going to start talking about it with, I picked the verse kind of right in the middle there, Genesis 11. I think it's verse 4.
It is?
It is. Yeah. You want to read it for us?
Sure. I read scripture yesterday.
Oh my gosh, you did so great
Anyways,
too.
okay.
It's amazing.
Then they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city with a tower that reaches to the heavens, so that we may make a name for ourselves. Otherwise, we will be scattered over the face of the whole earth."
What was the first part? Come and let us build ourselves a city.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole idea. We started this journey several weeks ago, looking at how people are created in God's royal image. And one of the first things that's revealed about God is a maker. Right? God is a maker, and there's just something cool that is, I think, pretty common to people. Like, we like it when we've made a thing, or we invest ourselves in a thing. We like to do that. What are some of the things you like to make?
I like to help my husband make things, like things in our house.
Yeah. No, just however that means to you.
Yeah, I mean, I like to help my husband build things for our house, or I like when I don't cook very often. I like when I actually cook and the kids are like, "This is so good," because I'm so nervous until then.
Yeah.
So I like to do those. I like to do those things. What do you like to make?
Well, I was thinking that too. You kind of stole mine because
sorry.
I've recently discovered this. Like, I really enjoy cooking, and not just like, I mean, I enjoy cooking, but it's. I'll sit there and I'll hover to the people eating my food. Like, do you like it? I really want them to like it. And I'll ask Jessamine, my wife, a few times, "Hey, did you like dinner?" But it's because I made a thing, and it feels so good to make a thing. And so that can be, from our school days, the projects, there's that time where you're like, I have to do this thing for school. But sometimes you can get into it. Like, I'm making this. I made this, whatever it is.
Well, and it's something that you did, right? So it you want to make sure it represents you. And so for you, hovering over, because I have been at your house before for dinner.
Did I do that to you?
I mean, I feel like that happens
Yeah.
all the time.
I'm a hoverer.
But we love that you do that because you like to make sure. I think that's how you share your love, right? One of the ways, you want to serve your friends around you. You want to fill their belly. You want to make them happy, right? I think that's important. When you're doing something or building something, or when they were building this city, right? When we talk about building a city, they were making it their own. It's their own. So I feel like that's what we do when we do projects and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I think some of it is like to point to like something that lasts. You know, and so like the food I make, it doesn't necessarily last, but hopefully the memory of it, right? The memory of that meal or that time shared around the table, you know, or just those things that we hold on to that not necessarily that someone created for us, but, you know, like a gift. You know, maybe they didn't make the gift, but they somehow made it happen, right? And how precious that can be. I think part of what's in us as makers and what we're seeing in this passage is we want to make something that lasts, something that matters, something that is really that you can point to for a while and say that, well, in this case, say that we did that. You know, we did that, and everyone can see it.
I think that's so here's a rabbit hole, but I think that that's why I enjoy like building things with my husband, because when people come to our house, they're like, "Oh, where did you get that?" I'm like, "The garage. My husband made it."
Hey,
that's my favorite. Like they ask me all the time, like, "What do you want for Mother's Day? What do you want for your birthday?" And I'm like, go make something for me. Like, I don't need you to buy me something. Go make something for me. I don't know. I just think it's more, it means more to me. Okay, off the rabbit hole. Sorry.
No, I don't think it was a rabbit hole. I think it was right on target. You know, there's something more going on. You're investing yourself in it.
Yeah.
You know, there's time invested. There's thought. There's a plan. Right. All that. You really see the heart of the giver, even if what's made is you know, by itself not great, like not a major work of art. Right. It's got all that with it, and so it's got this beauty. It's got this import that, you know, you can't just buy at Hobby Lobby.
Yeah.
So, you know, I would love to hear from you guys. You know, what are some of the things that you make, and how? What does that reveal about your heart? You know, what when you think about what you make and whatever that means to you, like what is being received, or what are you communicating? You know, in that. Here in the story, it's interesting. Like they're building a city, and they're looking to reach the heavens.
Crazy.
Right. And so what they're trying to do is to reach the heavens, and then they give their reason for it, which is basically so we don't get scattered.
Yeah.
Which I really can connect with that. You know, something, can we build something that's going to hold us together? Right? Can we build something that's going to keep us from falling apart? And gosh, that sounds important.
Yeah.
And good, right? I mean, doesn't that sound good? But in the problem, you know, or in the story, there's a bit of a problem that comes with that. I see Raya posted something. She's making time for myself. She's getting back into journaling and making memories to read back. To read back to the kids. You know, that's one thing that I love talking to my girls about, and they love hearing stories of the time before, stories of when they were babies. And it's interesting how we're actually giving them memories. Like, they now have memories that they couldn't really have on their own because they were too little. Right? Even some memories of what they were like in the womb, and they live into it. Yeah. They love that. And what a great thing to make.
Yeah.
To make a record of life, something that outlasts the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that she says she's making time for herself, right? Because I think that's important. Sometimes we don't make time for ourselves. Sometimes we just get so busy and wrapped up in life that we forget we need time for ourselves, right? So it was good to see Raya last night. She said she was taking her mom time and she was coming to church. And I said to her, I'm really excited that you picked your mom time, like, to come to church, like, not like a quiet space, like. And she was like, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Like, she was so excited to be here. It was so great. So I'm glad that you're taking time for yourself. It's important.
That's a cool connection back to the story. Like, what are they really looking for? They're building a tower to heaven.
Yeah.
Why? Like, I mean, we see the why in that they're looking to do a thing that's going to hold them together, but why that thing?
Right.
What are they seeking to accomplish by building a tower to heaven? What do you think?
Well, part of me says part of me is like, okay, I'm visual, right? So they're building this tower that's got to be so tall and it has to reach heaven, or is it really something else? Are they meaning like a tower to heaven, like all of the people in their city that are like making good decisions and giving them a way to heaven? Does that make sense? I don't really know how to explain that.
Yeah, so not so much the height of the structure, but somehow a structure that will unite the people in a heaven-seeking life.
Yeah.
That's the possibility. You said that so well.
So glad that you can correct what I'm saying.
That's there's something in us that is seeking heaven. We might not call it that,
Yeah.
and it doesn't. And it often, I think I would say, comes out as not great behavior. And I think it's part of this, that we're looking so that we don't get scattered, we don't get lost. There's something that can keep pointing us to something bigger. A lot of what we're looking to build or to make, I was thinking about, going in a little bit different direction, Alicia, as I was listening to the first part you were talking about, some of those first times you see like a really big building. Mm-hmm. What does that feel like? What does that feel like to see something? Or for me, I still feel this. I used to my drive to work several years back was in the flight path of Orlando Airport. And it just seemed like pretty frequently on my way back home from work, I'd be flying in or be driving just as a 747 would be landing. And that is a huge plane. It looks heavy. Mm-hmm. It just looks heavy. And I would just feel like, oh, man, humans made that.
Yeah.
Like
crazy.
And I would feel this thing in my spirit, like, oh, I had nothing to do with it.
Right. But you were proud.
But I was proud. I was proud. Like, we did that,
Yeah.
and this idea, like something that unites us, that lifts us up. So what's the problem? Because in the story, it doesn't really go well. The way the story ends is God sees this, and God scatters them. God sees this and sees that what they're doing in actual fact is not good. What's up with that?
They're people.
So
I don't know how else to say that. I do want to touch base because Bianca said, I thought that they were doing it so God wouldn't flood them out again.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And it connects to last week talking about the Noah's Ark.
Well, that's super interesting, right? Because God gave this promise that God would never do that again. Hung the rainbow in the sky is the sign of that promise. And we're used to in the church the idea that God is super reliable.
Right.
But I wonder if that was the feeling on the other side of the flood. How do we know? How do we know that God's not actually going to do that? Like the stories of the gods in the region, they're not particularly reliable. And one of the things I shared last week, one of the flood stories from the region, locates the reason that the gods sent the flood is because they were just irritated with how noisy people are. I can connect with that.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Especially when I'm trying to do something like concentrating, like I need some silence.
Right. And I'm kind of a loud person, and come on, man. So but yeah, so maybe that's an interesting wrinkle, that this could also show a fearful lack of faith. Mm-hmm. Like, look, we're in it. We're on our own here.
Well, they probably never thought it would happen. Like maybe they never thought it would really happen that he would flood the earth, right? And so I feel like it's not a lack of faith. I feel like I feel like sometimes we all have that same, I guess if you call it a lack of faith, that just sounds harsh to me.
Yeah, it feels crummy, right?
Yeah, because I don't want to say I'm not faithful, but I sometimes live out of fear, right? And so what was that one of their fears? Were they, I mean, I don't know. Were they just scared?
Right, were they just scared? And what do you do when floodwaters are rising? You go to the high ground. Well, the
High
ground
ground on the
obviously,
way to heaven.
right, the high ground obviously wasn't high enough before.
Right.
So let's do something about that. You know, let's get beyond the reach of this world.
Yeah.
With all its troubles and with all its, and I guess where I keep going with this story is there's such a difference between trusting in God and trusting on God's timing, God's way, all that sort of stuff. And you know what? I'm just going to make this happen for myself. I'm gonna make sure that my family is safe from another flood.
Yeah.
You know, or I'm going to make sure that I have access to divine power. You know, it goes all the way back to the first story of people, and deciding, yeah, we're gonna seize the opportunity to understand knowledge and wisdom and good and evil. We're just gonna take that on ourselves.
Yeah.
Right?
But we can't take it on ourselves.
Why not?
Because we're not that powerful.
Because we're not that powerful. Yeah.
'Cause we can't do anything without God.
Yeah.
So let's see what other people are saying.
Oh,
Because
Bonnie,
mine are not updating.
yours are not updating. Oh.
I see yours going off, not mine. So do you want to share them?
Okay, yeah. So this is what Bonnie's got here, where she is. She's involved in Bible study fellowship, and she's got a young group of folks that she's leading, the children, and but she's talking about how with all the work that God is helping her to not just build the work itself of preparing the presentations and the teachings, but actually, building the relationships, and that's really fascinating, right? Because what is really going to last of all the things that we make in this world, right? What's going to actually last? Nothing except family.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, and family is what's going to last. The church is going to last. There's this quote that I refer to every once in a while from C.S. Lewis where he talks about, you've never known someone who is a mere mortal. C.S. Lewis, he's your favorite.
I love his books.
Like, you've never met someone who's merely immortal. Everyone you've talked to is an immortal being.
Right.
And he talks about how there's this, like, basically two options, where if that person fully realizes the divine plan, we're talking about a majestic, magnificent creature, you'd be tempted to fall down on your knees to worship. Mm-hmm. Or if that person follows into wickedness and goes against God's plan for us, a vile creature. It's just awful. And he says, you're walking around with those two possibilities with everyone you meet. These are the people we play with. These are the people we cheat. These are the people we marry. That's what lasts, those relationships. And so I have this thought every once in a while when I get into a conflict with people. It's like, if we don't resolve this, we're just going to make heaven awkward.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
Oh, you're here. We never dealt with that.
I wonder if everything, once you get to heaven, there's not that awkwardness, right? Because you're in heaven and in awe of how beautiful it is, and maybe you forget all of that crazy stuff.
I've thought about this, and I think you're right, but I don't think you forget it. I think it's just you've got the perspective that is needed to realize it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I feel like heaven is not so much a place of forgetting, but a place of really remembering.
Oh, that's a good way to look at it.
Don't you like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't have much longer with them.
Please stay.
Okay,
yeah.
So
all right, what do we got to do?
Talking, right? Like, keep having conversations about what we're doing. We're super excited to be with you on Thursdays, digging a little deeper into theology. and making it fun. So this week we got coming up our last awakening, right?
Yeah. Well, we've got Sunday.
Sunday, sorry.
On our regular Sunday schedule, 9:30 online and contemporary, traditional at 11,
Yep.
drive-in at 4, youth at
Youth
5.
at 5.
Yep. And then
Awakening
on Wednesday at 6:30. Just a reminder that we're fasting on Wednesdays as a church, whatever that looks like for you. And if you ever have questions about anything, you can. There's all kinds of ways you can get a hold of us.
Yeah.
An easy one is just email the office or call the office. Rachel is so good, and so she gets those messages out wherever they need to go. As we wrap it up, I would just invite you to be sitting with some of these questions about, well, what are you making and why, and in terms of making relationships, like how is that going, and maybe what do you need to do to maybe help some of those relationships come to a better place. And we'll talk this Sunday about what people make and how God is with us in that.
I love it.
All right, thanks
We'll
for being with us.
Sunday.
See you soon.